This is personal. So we need to get a little close. Too close. There we go. Today, we're talking about something personal and important. Basically, on March 25th, 2007, I came out to my mom and two of my best friends. So that is the day that I see as my official coming out. Because it was the first time where I was saying it out loud to somebody, I'm gay. So in terms of coming out stories, I am very lucky and fortunate. None of my friends judged me for it, none of my family supported me about it, and I wasn't bullied for it in school. Well, that's not true. I was bullied about it before I was out, like before I even really understood what was going on with myself. I was bullied about it in middle school. It was pretty brief, and it was dealt with, and it wasn't ongoing. Once I actually came out, no one bothered me about it. It was like everybody knew and was kind of like, okay. And all my friends knew before I did. My mom knew before I did. Like, when I came out, it was sort of everybody was like, oh, she finally got it. So it was really just like so smooth. I have to count my blessings for that because so many coming out stories, is like, my parents, I had a hard time telling my parents, and I had this one friend who acted weird. There's like a lot of stories out there, most stories out there, where coming out was not easy. To be an example that sometimes coming out and embracing who you are can be, it's always good. It's not always going to be as bad as you think it's going to be. I thought I was really scared to come out. Even though I was pretty sure it wouldn't get sour, you just have, when you're in school, because I was 17, so I was in my junior year of high school. And when you're in high school, there's a lot of judgment from everybody. And I never really had an issue in high school. High school was pretty comfortable for me. You still have that fear that when people know something about you, they'll sort of use it to your disadvantage. And I grew up in a pretty conservative town, actually. Like, it's really Christian. Even the school I went to, like, it was a public school. But there were, a lot of people that I know there are Christian and kind of conservative. It's just kind of the community that I grew up in. Let me just rewind a little. I started questioning if I was gay or not. I think actually the first time I thought about it was when I was like 11. And it was like shortly after I figured out what the term lesbian meant. Because I've been having crushes on girls since like kindergarten. It's just that in kindergarten, I didn't know that that was a thing that could happen. I didn't know that you could have a crush on another girl. So for many years, I just thought that I wanted to have like these close friendships with these girls that I was actually like having crushes on. Back now, it's like clear as day. So I think I had my first inkling when I was like 11 or so, but then just really stuffed it down. To the point where it was like I had never even thought about it. And I think I started thinking about it again when I was 13, and that's kind of around the time that I was getting bullied for it. So then that sort of made me want to even less be gay. And so going into high school, I just sort of was suppressing things. I started having crushes where I was like, okay, this is a crush. I think that was by like age 15. I was like, I can't beat around the bush anymore. I like this girl. There's no getting around it. This is what it feels like to like somebody. And I kept that really to myself, and I think I actually just told my mom once, like, I think that I like this girl. And we talked about it briefly, and I sort of cried about it, and I said, I don't know, maybe I'm gay. And then we never talked about it again after that. I just really wasn't ready to be out. Like, the thing that occurred most to me was that if I came out and I was the lesbian, then I was the lesbian. So the thought of being like the only lesbian that I knew was really frightening. And I wanted to make sure that I was so sure, because what if I wound up having a crush on a guy? No one would want to have anything to do with me after they find out that I'm gay. So I was just really kind of stuck. And then when I was 16, I got a boyfriend. And I actually really liked him. I pursued him. We wound up dating for like 3 months. And then I noticed that I was just like looking at girls. And that was new for me because I had never done that before. It was never like I was looking around checking girls out. That was never a part of it. It was always like I knew somebody in my class, I was friends with a person, and then through that friendship, I got feelings for them. This was the first time where checking some of them out. And then I was kind of like, what's going on? I'm looking at girls. Like, I remember just having that thought, like, oh, I'm checking out a girl. And then I thought, you know what? I have to investigate this. On top of that, I also started getting feelings for one of my really close friends. So, like, there was definitely this bond that was happening. And so when I started to get feelings there, tenfold, it was like, okay, I have to figure this out because I have these feelings and I can't do anything about them. And it's getting to the point where it's driving me crazy to have these crushes and I can't do anything about them. So what I did to try to find answers is I literally went on Google and was like, how do I know if I'm gay? Like, maybe that's the most cliche thing ever, but I literally, like, went on Google and was like, how do I know if I'm gay? I started looking for, like, coming out stories. Like, I wanted to know other people's experiences. I wanted to feel like I could relate to somebody because that was something I hadn't been able to do before. I found this website. I don't even think it's, like, available anymore, but it was basically like a live journal for queer kids. It was awesome. So I signed up, like, immediately and started posting in March of 2007. And basically just talked about, like, all my feelings. And people could, like, leave comments and give advice. And you could read other people's journals. And it was, like, my safe haven. I posted in that thing all the time. And got feedback all the time. And really got to understand that I'm not alone here. That made me say, that's it. Like, I, for sure, like girls. Decided to come out. And I decided to do it on a weekend. And I wanted to do it with my friends, and then I decided that I would leave my mom a letter. She still has that letter somewhere. I should actually find it. And her and I had, like, talked about me being gay before, but I never confirmed it. So now I was ready to finally be like, I just am. And I knew she was going to be okay with it. So I'd made plans to hang out with my three good friends, one of which is the one I had a crush on, and one of them couldn't come, but I was like, fuck it, I'm going to tell these two anyway. But I just kept I was so nervous. And it was, my friend was driving me and my other friend home. And I finally, from the backseat, was like, guys, I have something to tell you. And they got real quiet and they're like, yeah, what is it? And they, like, turned the music down. They're all worried about it. Kind of hard to say. And they're like, oh my God, like, you can tell us. I think I like girls. And they were like, oh. Like, no big deal. They were like, oh, well, that's cool. Well, like, we love you no matter what. Like, we totally support you. It's all good. And then, like, turned the music back on and that was it. And this is, like, I can see in my mind still, like, where on the drive we were. I can still see it all, like, in my head so clear, and, like, where the conversation began and where it ended. And so then when I was the first to be dropped off, so they both got out of the car and they gave me these big hugs and they were like, we love you, like, no matter what. Thank you so much for trusting us with this, and, like, nothing's gonna change. And I felt so relieved to finally have told somebody. It really meant so much to me. Anyway, I printed out all my journal entries, because when I found out the website was going to start, like not being a thing anymore, I wanted to make sure that I had a hard copy of everything. What I'm thinking I might do is, like, post my journal entries from around that time, on my Tumblr, so I'll link that in the description below, and then you guys can, like, read that. If you're 16 right now, like, if you're young, or if you're my age, if you're 26 and you're not out and you're worried about it, I'm just so hoping that, like, a story like this can get to you, that you can see this and you can go, okay, she came out and it was not a big deal. I actually feel like the more time goes on, the easier it is for people to come out, because there is so many more resources. There's so much more representation of LGBT people in the mainstream, and just resources like through YouTube, minus the fucking restriction mode, through Tumblr, like everything. There's so much more now than there was when I was coming out. But there's still gonna be people who struggle, and so the reason that I wanted to tell this story is to be like, it gets better. But, like, some of us are okay. Some of us come out and your life just continues on like normal. The only thing that changed for me was I was able to be myself finally. And that feeling was incredible. Basically, like, all my effort to, like, try to be something I wasn't stopped. And I was totally able to embrace exactly who I was. Some of my friends, I think, got really sick of how much I talked about being gay. And here's my response to that. If your friend comes out and all they can do is talk about being gay, let them. I spent 16 years of my life repressing who I was. And that's actually a short span compared to most people my age who came out. And you are finally able to just be like, oh my God, this is who I am. Everybody knows. I can talk about it openly. That's all you do. It's like just like lava, like coming out of a volcano. Like you can't control it. Give them a space for that. That's actually really important. It's a really important part of who they are. They weren't able to talk about it before. So like, I don't know, let them for a bit. They'll calm down. I feel like right now I can see on the time code, I've been talking about this for 20 minutes. I don't know how long this video is going to be. There's so much more, honestly, that I could say about this. It was a big event in my life, and my life has been so great ever since. I'm so glad that I came out as young as I did. I think it's enabled me to grow a lot faster and to be able to embrace relationships a lot faster, because I can't imagine having waited any longer than I did, because I was already feeling like I was going to fucking burst. Thank you guys so much for listening. Again, check the link below for some of those journal entries. And if you are coming out yourself and you're looking to this video for advice, my advice is just to it's so corny, but please just like embrace yourself, be kind to yourself. You don't have to rush coming out. Everything's on your terms. Who you are is most important, not what other people think of you. That's it. Okay, guys. Thank you again. I hope this was a fun video for you to watch, and I'll see you in the next one.